Hey everyone, last time I showed you 5 of my 11 aquariums, and today I want to show you the rest. You last saw my 880 gallon plywood tank. To the right we have a rack of 125 gallon aquariums. On top I have a mix of New World cichlids, including a Vieja melanurus and a Vieja cinespilim. These are said to be the same species, but there's an obvious difference between the two, so I'll keep labeling them the way you see here. I have an Escondido carpentis cichlid, a Criboheristro-stratus cichlid, a blue flash cichlid, a red jewel cichlid, and 3 black chin tilapia cichlids. I also have some giant Danio, some silver dollars, and a group of banded leporinas. As the fish mature, I'll reduce the tank's population. The leporinas and the silver dollars will be added to my 350 gallon tank, and maybe 2 to 3 cichlids with them. Once these fish are grown, I want the melanurus cichlid to be the centerpiece fish for the tank, and I'll see who he gets along with the most for tank mates. One of the most famous creatures from this tank was my panther crab, who was one of my most unique freshwater creatures in all my aquariums. Unfortunately, he escaped from the tank and ended up dying. It happened while I was at work. These crabs can handle a few hours out of the water, but he must have been out of the water the entire time that I was gone, and he didn't survive. Below I have Indominus, my male jaguar/dovite hybrid. This guy is full of character, and he's built like a tank. I'm on the lookout for a 180 gallon tank for him. This 125 gallon isn't bad, but a 180 gallon would be better. He doesn't tolerate any tank mates. It would have been nice to get something in here to help him clean up some of the algae, but this guy will even attack snails. Upstairs we have my 210 gallon aquarium. This community tank has a wide variety of fish, including 5 big bala sharks, 5 roseline sharks, 8 clown loaches, 6 tiger barbs, 8 Australian rainbow fish, 1 flagtail porcilidus, an African tiger scat, a green phantom pleco, and 3 hybrid and bonus cichlids. I love the look of the African tiger scat in this tank. He looks like a fish straight from the ocean. Unfortunately, he's the most aggressive fish in the tank, so he has to go. I'm just waiting for him to get big enough to eat the same food that I feed to the fish inside of my 350 gallon tank. Even though this fish is about 4 inches long, his mouth is very tiny and he can't fit 5.5mm pellets yet. The flagtail will also be moved to my 350 gallon tank once he's big enough. These fish are algae eaters, and that tank has a ton of algae, and I'm sure when I put him in there he's going to have a growth spurt, and he's going to be ready in no time for my 880 gallon tank. I initially wanted to remove the bonus cichlids, but they're actually well behaved in this tank, likely because they don't find the other fish to be competitive. I love the color of the dominant male. He was born in a tank, so it's only fair that I give him a chance. I think my bala sharks are fine in this tank. The biggest is about 10 inches, and I don't think that they feel cramped. These fish can grow up to 14 inches, so when the time is right, I am prepared to move them to one of my bigger tanks. Overall, this tank has the most relaxing movement and color. Across the room I have my 40 gallon reef tank. I'll admit that for a period I lost control of this tank. The macroalgae grew into a jungle and began to swallow my corals from below. Meanwhile, hair algae was attacking the reef from above. The goal was to create a tank that didn't need water changes, with the macroalgae being a natural denitrifier. However, my tank wasn't mature enough for that. On top of not doing water changes, I was also feeding my fish too much, so that's why my tank is currently ugly. The good news is that I realized my error, and now I'm on the road to recovery with weekly water changes. Even though my tank isn't as beautiful as I would like, the inhabitants are doing good. My bubble tip anemone just split into 3 healthy anemones. My clownfish are doing great and they'll attack me if I come too close to their home. My watchman goby is building caves all over the tank. Meanwhile, my hogfish and my possum wrasse are exploring every inch of the tank. My tailspot blenny is always respectfully requesting to be fed. And my springer damsel is just a very chill fish. All the while, a microscopic world is as busy as can be underneath the substrate. My tank isn't where I want it to be, but there's no doubt that we are on a road to being a successful jungle reef tank. Next we have 2 20-gallon no-tech tanks. This is what I tried to accomplish with my reef tank. These tanks don't have any filters or lights or heaters, and I can go months without doing water changes. There are so many plants in this tank that the plants remove all the waste that the fish produce. The plants also produce enough oxygen so that the tanks do not need filters, and you would know if the tank had low oxygen because the fish would be breathing heavily. On the left I have a group of cherry barbs. I love how comfortable these fish are with me. When I stick my hand in the tank, the fish peck at me. The tank to the right is home to a paradise gourami and some platies, but these fish are not as friendly. The cherry barbs keep reproducing, so eventually I might add some to the tank to the right, because with these no-tech tanks, balance is critical. If I have too many fish, that's when problems start. If the plants can't keep up with the load, nitrates will build up and oxygen will be depleted. Overall, these tanks are a perfect ecosystem, and I love how simple they are. That's been a look at all my aquariums, but it's finally pond season. We're coming off one of the coldest winters that we've had in a while. At one point, the surface of the pond was frozen for a month straight. It looks like everyone handled it well, and I'm especially impressed with the rosy minnows because this was their first winter outside. These fish were sold as feeder fish for 15 cents a piece, but they make great pond fish because they're very hardy and at the same time they're surprisingly very entertaining. My goldfish are still moving at a slower pace. It takes them more time to come out of hibernation mode. In the days to come, I'll clean the pond, removing the leaves from the bottom, and I'll get the waterfall flowing again. So that's been a look at all my aquatics. I plan on making some changes with the layout of the fish room. I want to figure out a way to get more gallons in the fish room with the same space provided. All in the effort of giving these fish the best lives possible. Until then, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one.